best entertainment on the earth. Tune in for Comics with Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. We're concluding the Avengers, so we're now at the end of Jason Aaron's Avengers run, which it had the feeling of a lot of stuff being thrown at the wall. I haven't met anyone who was really in love with this run. I've met people who kind of liked various story arcs, who thought parts of it were entertaining, who like the Avengers in general, or like comics in general, but I haven't met anyone who goes, this Jason Aaron's run is my favorite Avengers run. If I'm looking at Avengers run, people really enjoy. They liked Hickman's, kind of moving back. They liked Hickman's. They liked Bendis's. I mean, Bendis's Avengers run, for all the crap Bendis has got, by and large, more people liked it than didn't. And then you can continue to go back. A lot of great writers. I've always said one of my favorite runs, the Avengers, was in the 80s, and Captain Marvel was leading the team, and they had the Masters of Evil kind of build up that took a while, and then Nebula was doing some crap with the Kangs, and it was pretty good. I think Kurt Busiek did a pretty great run with George Perez and others back in the late 90s. That was a great run. So there's been lots of great runs of the Avengers, and Jason Aaron's, it feels like something that will be largely forgotten. Now, the kind of tragedy in that is that if you look at that run and you look at the various kind of arcs and things he was doing there, he was throwing everything at the wall. And that is fundamentally, it feels like it burned itself out. I mean, in this run, we got, Moon Knight taking over the planet. We got a Phoenix tournament to pick a new Phoenix. We got a She-Hulk. We got a Squadron Supreme rewriting of reality. You had the Avengers living in the hollowed out corpse of a Celestial. You had Vampire Nation get established, Namor attacking from Atlantis, and then you have this multiversal Masters of Evil with a doomed planet. And I mean, I missed stuff there. This comic, this run was, as they say in the business, just filled with bonkers ideas from start to finish. It was an absolute, nothing was left on the table. And that inherently is the problem. And I think it's a problem. I was catching up with a friend, who's at Marvel, who was saying that, the Avengers is kind of ruined as a property because of the movies, because it is the centerpiece. It's got to be the go big comic. And so what happens is writers, if they're going to come into a pitch like, hey, we're going to have the event, like doing what Bendis did. Like, we're going to have the Avengers show up, and they're going to try and solve, some global conspiracy type stuff, but there's going to be a lot of kind of some undercover work and, helping fix the breakout at the rafts. And villains are breaking out of prison, and they need to help do that. Those ideas sound too small and too boring. Even though Bendis led up to things like the Skrull invasion and, the Norman Osborn taking over, creating a Dark Avengers and all this other, I mean, don't get me wrong, Bendis had big ideas for sure, but it wasn't every issue we're going to completely upend the world and screw it up in major way. It wasn't any of that. Hickman, Hickman's run led to the complete annihilation of the multiverse, and yet it still felt more grounded. And Hickman is not a writer you would ever call grounded, but compared to what we've got now, it was. And so is that where we're at? Is the Avengers wrecked? Jeb McKay is coming on, and he's told stories that I think are a little bit more grounded, a little bit. I don't know. I'm not as big a Jeb McKay fan as I know many of you are. Stories are okay. I mean, nothing. He's not a bad writer. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a perfectly good writer, and I've liked some of what he's done with Moon Knight. It feels a little like at times just kind of. I don't know, the character Soldier and the other stuff that he's done. I don't love these characters. They feel a little one-dimensional to me, but again, maybe it's just me. But his Strange series, it's hard to read that and go, yeah, Clea became a really kind of enjoyable character to read. Not really. I don't know. So I'm curious what he does with Avengers, but I'm leery because in the solicitations and the pitch, it's like the Avengers have never had a bigger challenge than this. This is the moment that will shake the Avengers to their very core. It's going to be the biggest thing. I, ugh, I don't. I think that is the trap that my friend was talking about. You know, in its desire to go big or go home, there's no grounding for these stories. They become untethered from any kind of sense of where these, you grow attached to these characters because they have these human moments, or they have, it's weird. It feels like I'm almost asking for a comic where they have lunch. I'm not asking for that at all. I just the Avengers, fighting, there's plenty of villains. Now Marvel has done an absolute disservice to villains by deprioritizing them and making them kind of less interesting as a whole. But it the Avengers can have a regular, help solve a prison breakout couple comics. The Red Skull could try to gas one of the national parks, and they've got to solve. I mean, there can be smaller stories that still feel impactful and still feel big, without having to kind of go, let's go ahead and Doom. There's other options that you have. So overall, I guess the question I have for you is this the trap? Is this what the Avengers has now got itself into, where the stories have to be so big, so huge, so groundbreaking, so, the world is coming to an end and nothing will ever, 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 thank you, Chris Jericho, be the same again? Is that now basically where the Avengers can't find its own breathing room to just tell a good, solid story? It's got to have, the world is about to crack in two and only the Avengers can stop it. I guess the other challenge we have is that if you're having those kinds of issues, those kinds of, nothing will be the same again, the entire world's in peril. I looked at what was done with the Authority under Ellis and Miller, and they handled kind of huge, world-breaking, nothing will be the same again. Everything is in peril, heroes doing big-ass dramatic things. They handled that well. If I look at, what's happened with the Avengers doing the same thing, you get a lot of comics like, hey, Thor is going to punch something. You don't get the big moments. The heroes are kind of thrust into these massive, mind-boggling situations. But it comes down to it, like the Phoenix tournament. It's like, let's punch each other a bunch. Is that unfair? Like, even in the big epic story, the heroes are doing fairly basic things. I think that, it cuts the legs out from under the comic itself. So I don't know. I hope Jed McKay can dial it back a little bit. Just deliver us some good stories without trying to break the world. Try that. And, good luck, Jed. And in terms of Aaron, I don't know, what at the end of the day, what do you make of that run? Did you enjoy it? Did you like kind of the big, out of the park kind of adventures that they did? Or, are you like me and you got exhausted from reading the comic? It didn't feel fun anymore. It just felt like stuff being thrown at the wall. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.